Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Brad and I are continuing our top 100 games of all time. We are on the penultimate video, the top 20 through 11, talking about the games that didn't quite make it into the top 10. Who knows why? I mean, honestly, like, who really cares? This whole list thing is arbitrary anyway. But it's fun to do. So, this segment, I have um, four that fell, two new ones, three that rose, and one that stayed the same.
I don't have any new ones. I have four that rose, five that fell, and one that stayed the same.
I mean, that's a crazy thing. That was like the five that fell. It's like, oh, fell from the top
Yeah, they
10.
didn't fall much. Yeah, they didn't fall much.
They fell one spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always gets more and more exciting. It's funny the way these top 100s go, because I mean, you would think the length of our videos, that like the top like 100 through 90 would be like an hour. Because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's in the top 100, but yeah, barely. But nope. All our videos are the same length, if not longer. So let's go ahead and get started with my number 20, which was number 19 last year, and it was number 10 the year before, and it really only fell the one spot. I mean, if you want to have a bigger drop, it was in my top 10 at one point, and it's been in my top 10 for many, many years. I just haven't played it, not for any particular reason, but yeah, my number 20 is boom, This War of Mine. This has been in my top like favorite games since I had heard about it. I mean, God, it's crazy to think about now, but this game, God, where was it? When did this come out? This War of Mine, 2017.
Yeah.
So 6 years ago. One of the first games I backed on Kickstarter. This was kind of back. I think this is also still Awaken Realms before they became, one of the top publishers. They just have a unique one here. This is 100% not for everyone. And I would say if you are going to play it, I would play it at 2, because they did something very interesting. Well, first, the premise of the game is you are civilians in a war. And actually, this was in my top horror games, just because of the sheer reality that this game can bring, especially with current, world events that are going on. This is even more difficult to get really into, because a lot of people say that you can't have fun with a game like this. I disagree. I think that you should separate, a game from reality, and you can still have fun playing games even if they're of very serious themes. But yeah, you play as civilians in a war-torn city, huddled up inside this house, trying to do your best to survive, going out and getting materials so you can create a heater, because it's during winter, and I mean, God, actually, where is this set?
Oh gosh, you'd said it before on one of the other ones. It was,
Yeah, and it's because, and
remember?
I always say this, there is a wonderful um written review over a guy who lived in the city that this game is based on. And he actually talks the game up, instead of, degrading it. It doesn't say, at least not on the description that I can quickly look at. Um, but yeah, and the really unique thing about this is kind of how they don't really teach you the game. Like, they give you like a journal, and they basically have you flip through it almost as a tutorial, so that you can just kind of set it up and start playing. Kind of like if you were to be like, okay, well, we'll figure it out as we go along. That's literally how this game wants to teach you, because you don't learn very specific things unless you happen to find them in the journal book, which, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but it is unique. Like I said, not for everyone, but man, they handle the source material very, very well. So that is my number 20, This War of Mine.
Yeah, this was one of the first games that I know of that kind of taught you as you went. Like
Mhm.
it wasn't a common thing.
No, and Awaken Realms usually does a pretty good job actually with their tutorials. Like with Etherfields and Tainted Grail, they kind of give you a very short prologue to get you into their game, especially because their game has a lot of stuff. Like there's a lot of content in their game. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you can't, fault them for trying.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, this is a great one.
All right. My number 20 has made a meteoric climb up the list, mainly
Okay.
because I finally sat down and learned how to play this game. It was a 153 last year.
Oh wow. Okay.
Um,
You've learned how to play and it was still ranked?
well, I had played it before because it was on my list.
Oh.
Like it was, but like this is one of those games that you have to play a few times to really get the feel of it. It's widely renowned as one of the best solo games of all time. And
Okay.
that is Mage Knight.
Nice. Nice. Just announced a new
I know,
expansion.
the Apocalypse Dragon.
Yeah.
It looks cool.
I
It's
haven't looked into it.
2025.
Yeah, I haven't looked into Vlada Chivadol, he's designing it?
Yep. Well, no,
No, he's not. No,
that's
he's not. It's Phil Pettifer. It just has his name on it. Okay. Because Vlada, I think, quit designing.
oh really?
Well, I think so. I don't know why. I feel like I haven't seen his name on anything. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
No, but anyway, this one, everybody talks about being the solo game to get if you're a true solo. It's very heavy and not heavy. It's just there's just a lot of stuff to keep track of.
Hmm.
Um, and if you play it with more than, I mean, I will only play this solo just because it's such a long game anyway. Which is why I think solo's the strong point of it.
Yeah.
And it kind of mixes a lot of cool stuff with it. It kind of it feels like an RPG. It feels, it's got your deck building aspect, and it just looks neat on the table with all the hex stuff, and you get all the castles and all that stuff up there. This guy has the cool play mats that I want to get because you
Ooh,
can get
yeah.
those that kind of has cool. I've looked at them and I'll probably end up getting them at some point. But
Yeah, that is nice.
there's just a lot to maintain in this game. But to me, as a solo game, I get a lot out of this theme wise. I
Hmm.
feel you feel it. The decisions are there. It throws deck building is one of my favorite things. So then when you throw this complex of a game and then you throw the deck building aspect in as well, that just makes it even cooler. The components are neat. This was with WizKids, and I'm not saying they're great, but they have the pre-painted hero miniatures and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, Especially if you get the Ultimate Edition, it has all the expansions, and there will be room in that box for the new one. They've said
Oh,
so.
awesome.
Yeah,
Wow. That's amazing.
exactly. That was the first question I asked because I got on the forums and I was like, "Is this going to fit?" And the guy
Yeah,
on there is like,
that'd
"Yeah,
be
it fit easily."
that'd be super annoying. Yeah, this is one that I had played when it came out. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, God, years ago. I think I played one of the co-op scenarios.
Yeah.
Um, I barely remember anything about it. The only thing I remember is they had like mana dice or mana crystals, something.
Yes. Yeah. It's a
And yeah,
little
that's how you
crystal.
like power. So if you had a card that said move two, but if there was a mana that you could spend, you could move four or
Hmm.
whatever it might be. It's like I remember that being pretty cool because it's like, oh yeah, that's just magic in the air,
Yeah.
kind of like a lot of fantasy RPGs do. Other than that, I think this is kind of what City of Kings wanted to be.
But yeah, I think so.
Like
Yeah.
it get like a succinct RPG. It's not a
Mhm.
campaign. As far as I can tell, I don't think there
The
probably is a campaign.
Apocalypse Dragon ads campaign.
Okay,
That's its thing.
but it was scenario based. But in that scenario, you felt like you got a good RPG's worth, which is very rare and needed, I think.
Yeah, and this is just one. I mean, if it interests you at all, don't. I mean, and I know the first play, you're gonna feel way overwhelmed, but give it a few times, and
Hmm.
once it clicks, then this turns into a very very cool game. I actually have an extra copy of it if you want to
No,
try
because
it
it's not the
someday.
ultimate. I do want to try it.
Yeah. I
I
mean, it's
do.
the Ultimate Edition isn't any different. It's just everything in one box with the expansions.
Yeah,
There is,
you did.
and there's like 5 new cards. Is all that
Yeah,
it's all the same.
yeah. Sorry, I thought you were gonna say if you want it, and it's like no,
No,
I want
but I
to.
have it in that stupid tackle box that I have, and you can play
Right.
it that way. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good idea. I will have to get this on the channel.
yeah. So
Cool.
anyway, that is my number 20, Mage Knight.
Nice. All right, my number 19. This is new to the list. Really, really shot up. Um, and this was funny enough a game that both you and I had completely stayed away from solely because of the name alone. And I agree with Vassal on this that they need to fire their whatever their marketing guy because he cost them thousands of dollars, I think, just on the name. My number 19 is
Ah,
Massive Darkness 2.
yeah.
Massive Darkness 1 is mediocre at best. Like it had like one cool concept, which is like, hey, you're more powerful in the dark. Okay, cool. Well, I guess the roaming bosses, but the bosses themselves sucked. They came out with Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape that I was like, no, not even a little. One, because Simon kind of has me like, they always have me intrigued, and then I like start watching their stuff. I'm like, never mind. But I kept hearing more and more things about this game, and I was like, is it really that good? And then I got a copy of it and played it, and I was like, oh my God, this is so much fun. Kind of like we talked about with Marvel Zombies. This game is just fun to play. Again, scenario based. This guy has it all figured out with the card trays. Um, that is amazing. Um, but
That's
you
that's
play.
my Shadows of Brimstone setup is those card
Oh,
trays.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's man, I need to get me some of those. Those look very helpful. Um, But this game is your pure dungeon crawl. Like go in, kick a door down, see enemies, and just roll a shit ton of dice and kill them. And it's fun. Like the first one was just mobs of plastic, and you're just like you felt like it was just very tedious, and this is not that at all. The only tedious thing about it, I find, is that when you spawn enemies, they're just certain levels. There's no real theme to the scenario on enemies. So whenever you flip a card over, it's like, oh, hey, it's the, bird demon dogs. It's like, ah, shit, I have to search for them, the minis. Um, but yeah, other than that, like you just are constantly getting loot. Like it's like that when you get your build and you're just like, oh man, I'm the barbarian and I got this, insanely badass two-handed blade. Hell yeah. And everyone's doing that. It's so cool. And the best thing that they did for it was making every single character play different. Like the barbarian utilizes damage to increase his rage. I think the rogue uses a bag building element. The ranger uses a push your luck system with arrows. The wizard uses a rondelle to cast spells. And there's a ton of other characters. Think D&D class tropes.
Right.
But that's amazing. Like, no, I think more games need to do that. Like, in a cooperative setting like this, I think that they really hit the nail on the head for making you be like, okay, well, I'm the barbarian, so I'm going to use rage, so I want to take damage, to increase my rage, so I can use that to do all my abilities. That's amazing. You feel so unique from everyone, and everyone's feeling like a badass. This game does have campaign elements. I have not tried that. Uh, the scenarios and the monsters level up as you kill, enemies. You get XP and you level up, similar to how, like Marvel Zombies or something like that is. And then the monsters level up, so you can only cap out at a certain level unless you're doing the campaign. Then they get more difficult. But you don't have to. You can just pick a scenario and play it. I think they have an overarching story if you play the scenarios in a row, but you don't have to at all. Like you can just be like, I'm gonna do scenario 7. Let's set this one up and just jump in and play. Uh, Funny enough, I have only actually played the Barbarian. Like
Really?
I've seen others played, but every time I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll be the barbarian again, and it's fun every time. There's so much loot that it's like, okay, well, I mean, you're not restricted. It's not like the barbarian can only hold certain weapons, but you can be like, oh, I'll use a bow this time. Let's see how this works. Break it. Um, but it is this one's a blast. Like I can't talk. I mean, it shot up to number 19. We'll see where it goes from here. But as of right now, that's where it's at. My number 19, Massive
Yeah,
Darkness 2.
that's one I'd like to try sometime. Because I had all the first edition stuff and sold it all,
Mm-hmm.
and I had
Oh
that.
yeah.
Remember that whole debacle where
Mm.
it got
Yeah,
lost.
I got lost.
Yeah, in the mail, and I had to. Yeah, it was anyway. Long,
Yeah, it's a mess.
but it fell into the massive darkness somewhere. But
That guy got it, and he
yeah,
played it, and it was shit, and he tried to be like, yeah, I never got it.
exactly. All
Yeah,
right.
no, it's just it's crazy how they went with Massive Darkness 2. I
Hmm.
don't understand. They like read the room. No one was talking up your game
Yeah.
because
Well,
I think Massive Darkness 1 has like a relatively high rating uh for what it is. I mean, like a 7.1. Um Like, I really don't think it's that good, but I think it's a case of people set their ratings, whether it's before or after a Kickstarter, there's that whole
mhm,
thing, and then never modify it.
right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I'll play it sometime.
yeah, you will,
All
little bitch.
right. My number 19 is another high flyer. It was actually 151 last
Oh my
year.
God.
And this one, I know exactly why it went up because this game, I think most people think this game is an average or a little above average game. But for some reason, it completely clicks with me and it just scratches the right itch. And I love this game solo. You've played it, you borrowed mine. I think you gave it a average rating.
Oh,
And
I
that
bet I know
is
exactly what it is. Yep.
Set a Watch. Sorry.
What did I
Anyway,
give this?
put
I
it
gave
down.
it yeah, I gave it a 5.
Yeah. This game is like I said, it just hits me right because you're always going to play with four characters. So when you play it solo, you play four characters. You play two players. They each play two. Um, and it's kind of a puzzle. Has a puzzle aspect to it because the object of each game is there's 9 locations you're trying to get through, and uh, each round you have to choose one of your four heroes in your party, and there's several heroes at this point that have to stay back at the campfire. And the person that stays back at the campfire, they get to do an action there, whether it's peek at the deck, or they can heal up, or they can buy something. There's different stuff they can do, and then the other 3 go out, and there's a line of bad guys that show up, and they're trying to defeat them all. The puzzle part of it is each hero only has a certain number of dice, and you have to be able to try to um, work together because the line order of the monsters makes a difference because some of them are stronger if they're at the beginning of the line or the end of the line. So you're trying to take them out as you go. And and like this picture shows that the heroes have different kinds of dice too, so some of them may have bigger swings with the d8s, some of them roll the d6s. You're just trying to get through all of the 9 locations. And the expansion, there's the Swords of the Coin expansion that adds more monsters and stuff, more heroes, but it also adds a place where you can buy. It has coins, so you can buy from a merchant and get powerful items to add to your stuff. So that's that. There's also on your player board, you have there's spots for 3, but I think each hero has like 5 or 6 upgrade abilities, and you can
Hmm.
choose those as you get them put out there and exchange them at certain points, like when you're at the campfire and stuff like that. So it's just a big time puzzle. It's very cooperative, especially if you're playing a 4-player game. There's a lot of table talks. You're really trying to figure out how to attack in the right order and stuff. And then the new Game Found thing that's going to be delivered here, I think they're saying in April now, is got it's the Forsaken Isles, which is going to add the third box in it, and then there's the Doomed Run, and it's going to be this other campaign, but it's going to make it where you can make it a campaign, but it all
Okay.
fits in one box,
Nice.
and everything. So it's just going to be awesome. And like I said, this game
Wait,
is
hold on. It fits in one box?
yeah.
That can't be true. It's Rock Manor.
Oh,
They
yeah, I
don't
know.
they don't make
I
they
know.
don't make
Well,
things
no,
fit in
no,
one
that'll happen
box.
if they say they're done with the game, but if they make a new expansion after this, then it's going to
That's
piss
right.
me off.
That's right.
But but yeah, I mean, this is one, like I said, it's kind of middle of the road for a lot of people, but it just hits me the right way, and it's super fun and fast solo, and yeah, I mean, I'll play this any day.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, I just remember it basically like theme like completely was lost on me. It was like I'm doing just a lot of math,
Yeah,
which I
it's,
guess
it's
I
not
mean,
it's not a thematic game; it's a puzzle game
yeah, which sounds
ultimately.
very reductive because you can just do that with a lot of games like Marvel
Mhm.
Champions or something. It's like all you do is just math. It's like I get that.
Yeah.
But anyway, cool. Well, good pick. Not as good as my number 18 though. My number 18, which is going to be very high, very high on your list. This is one of my
Tell me what's
super,
on my list.
huh?
Don't tell
I
me
mean,
what's on my
unless for,
list.
I'll be very, it'd be, I'd shit if this was not. Um, Although you haven't played this game as much as I have. This game rose significantly. It was number 92 last year, and just the sheer amount of content that they give. I also love this company, and I talked to them. Actually, I think uh, I talked to them for like an hour at Gen Con last year, just shooting the shit. This is one of the best solo games, my highest solo game. Yeah, my highest solo game, and that is
Well,
Final Girl.
yeah.
Uh, so Final Girl is a game where you are playing the final girl in a horror series, like the general trope based off their hostage negotiator system. But I think if you have this, if anyone has this, they no longer have hostage negotiator. It's like
I sadly do.
you do.
Yeah, I
You're
don't
not
play
play.
Hostage
Yeah, I was
yet.
like, you're not playing it though.
No.
But yeah, it basically took that system and improved upon it with just the sheer amount of customization that this game has. Like there are two series out, each with 5 boxes, and you can buy the boxes individually. You don't have to get the series stuff, but each box comes with a killer and a location. So if you have just one box, then you just play that combination. In this case, it's Poltergeist at Creech Manor. Funny enough, I actually really don't like this box, but um, it's still awesome to have. But if you get a second box, then you can mix. You can change the killer and the location. So if you have, I don't know, we'll just do Hans at the lake. You could take the poltergeist and put it at the lake, and those terror cards and events are gonna be unique, like kind of like a combined element of both of those. And because each killer runs differently and each location has runs differently, they both have different rules. So taking the rules of the poltergeist and putting it at the Camp Crystal Lake is what it is, will play out differently. They have a ton of different final girls that have different abilities whenever you save hostages, and then you get your ultimate ability by saving all of the ones. Like Selena needs to save 4 before she gets her ultimate ability. It is so much fun. I remember on last Halloween, um, we did we did the thing at the asylum, and that was insane. It was so much fun. I mean, the game just drips theme. Now, I will say the biggest negative for a lot of people is this game runs on pure randomness. Like to succeed on anything, you're rolling dice, and your how many dice you roll is based off your horror level. So like right now, she's at 2, meaning she's rolling 2 dice whenever she plays a card. And you need 5s or 6s. So if you are not one for randomness, then this is not for you because your game can just go completely in the gutter if you just roll blanks all the time. But I would say go into this game with a grain of salt because even if you fail, there's ways to be thematic about it, and it could be really, really funny. Like I think one of the things that you can do is, I mean, because there's a bunch of events and a bunch of items that can be put onto the board. At the asylum, there was a gurney, and it's like you can take a hostage and put it on the gurney, and then like throw it into the killer and have the body hit them. It's like it kills the hostage, but it also
Right.
deals the damage to the killer, and that's just funny.
The death
Yeah.
books are really cool too.
You know, I always forget about them.
Yeah,
Like
I
every
started using
single
them.
time. Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing to make it even more thematic. They also have scenarios you can play for each of the killers, which I've never done.
I haven't messed with those a whole lot.
But yeah, like so whenever you die or you kill the killer, you can depending on how you die, there's a thematic like tie into that. Um, and there's a series 3 coming out. Like their turnaround time is awesome. They just did like a quick $5 Christmas one of
Mm.
Krampus at the Santa Village, which was like, hey, here you go. And I've heard rumors. Basically, it felt like it was teased to me directly at Gen Con. I was like, oh, are you doing this season 4? And he's like, well, it would look weird in the Calyx shelves if you only had 3. I was like, yeah, yeah.
Well, they make so
Uh,
much damn money. I mean,
I know, I
the
know.
highest grossing solo only game, like as far as that
Hmm.
campaign goes. I mean,
Yeah.
it's nuts.
But I've done a lot of content for this game on my channel. Uh I've done a video on every single box, and then I've done a ranking of every killer and location from series 1 and 2. So if you need any more info, you can check those out. But yeah, this one's amazing. My number 18, Final Girl.
We might talk about that later. We'll see.
You're like, no, I actually don't like it anymore.
It fell completely off. I had to make room for Set of Watch and Mage Knight.
I only have so much solo games.
Yeah. All right. My number 18 is a game that was 8 last year. It fell, and it's only fell because I haven't played it. I think I've only played it once, like this whole last year. It's not because I don't like it, it's just because kind of a it's kind of a not a bear to set up, but like to get people to play it because it looks daunting to people. Then and
Hmm.
that play I played was solo because you had said the solo was outstanding. I enjoy the solo. And that is Arc Nova.
Nice.
Still top 20. I mean, if
Yeah,
this one gets, I haven't played with the expansion content yet. I have it, but I
it's
haven't
good.
played with that. So I could see this hanging around here. If I play it, it's probably going to bounce right back up again. I really enjoy this game. Um, the the huge deck of cards, in there, and the options that you get when you're building your sanctuaries and different stuff. I think the coolest thing about this game to me is um, the action selection
Oh,
cards.
yeah.
That's just neat how you go about doing that. You can kind of plan out and get one to be more powerful.
Hmm.
If you plan it right and stuff. The thing that was the hardest to get used to, and when I taught this game to a few different groups, was the in game. Of course,
Yeah.
that seems to be the big thing with everybody with this game, because once somebody cross, because there's two different tracks. There's the conservation track and the reputation track. I believe that's what they are.
Yeah, I think so.
If once they cross,
No, it's appeal.
oh, that's right. Okay, yeah,
I
I've
always think
played too many.
reputation too, but there is a reputation track, but that's a different thing. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
appeal and conservation.
So once they cross, then your points are how far they've crossed.
Hmm.
So like you play this fairly long game, especially if you're playing it, because the two times I've taught it, we've run 4 players, and those games
Ooh.
take a very long time when you play with
Yeah.
4 players. And I because I knew the rule. If you This is one of those games that rewards knowing that rule, because I knew that rule. I pushed it. I ended up with like 20 points, and everybody
Hmm.
else was like in the negatives,
Yeah.
just because you just learn that. So the more you play it, the better you're going to be with this once you know that rule. But it
Mm-hmm.
is kind of confusing at the beginning to know.
Yeah.
Unlike a game that uses that same thing, Rajas of the Ganges. Um, this one you need to really. It's not just how far apart it is, like um,
Right.
Rajas is just the first
First one to
person to do
cross,
it, and
right?
then
Yeah.
whoever. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on in this game, a lot of cool card interactions. Um,
I actually think
art,
they're playing
art's
with the
awesome.
yeah, they're playing with the expansion in this photo because there's a bunch of fish.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yep.
See,
I know a lot of people's biggest issue with this game, mine included, was the fact that it was just a deck, like a massive deck of cards. So if you could just get hosed on your
right.
projects and the animals you have, it's like there's nothing for me to do. The expansion fixes that in a pretty decent way. Like they have ways for you to fish through the deck for a specific card you want, and they have basically a new icon that constantly has the market
That's
um,
cool.
going. So, um, and then they added new cards. But yeah, it was a pretty good addition. I would say get it. Just I know you have it, but like anyone watching, get the if you get this, get the expansion because it doesn't have that much rules, and you're gonna want to be able to filter through that massive deck.
Right. Yep. So anyway, that is my 18. We'll see where it lands next year.
Nice.
But it's a good one for sure.
Yeah, Arc Nova's fantastic. It was my number. Oh, I actually found it immediately. 63. Yep, 63. Really good. Really good game. All right. My number 17 also rose. It was number 60 last year and 35 the year before. And I know exactly why this rose, because I had played it um, at Gen Con, actually. I played a four-player game of this, and it just reminded me of why this game was as popular as it was when it came out. So my number 17 is Blood Rage. And the biggest thing, I mean, God, look at the logos. That was before CMON was CMON. They went by
Yes.
Coolman or not with, and then I don't know who those other companies are. Um, but when this game came out, like everyone was talking about it. Like literally, it was constantly being played, and for good reason. It was amazing. The expansions not so much. Funny enough, they weren't great. There's one, the Mystic one is good, but like the ones with the gods and But this is a pure area control game akin to this is the first in the trilogy of Blood Rage, then Rising Sun, then Ankh. Uh, but you basically are battling for various spots on the board to try and gain points, gain not resources, but gain different um, conditions. So you can fulfill quests, or depending on how you're doing, you're really just trying to kill or potentially be killed to get a ton of victory points. And because it's during Valhalla and so on and so forth. One of the coolest things about this game is that as the game goes on, the board gets smaller and smaller. There's a specific section that you know is going to be destroyed at the end of the round. So there are ways to capitalize on that, but eventually that section um, will no longer just be there. So the board gets smaller, and it really and like kind of like how Komet, a lot of people really like Komet because it's like, oh, it forces you to fight. It does, but I kind of find Komet a little more one note. This one is the game encourages you to fight. It doesn't force you to. Uh, and I find that extremely fascinating. The reason why this also shot up even more so than I just played it, um, is just how simple it is. Like, oh my God, it's so clean of a game. Like to go back after years of not having played it and then just kind of like, filter through the rule book and being like, huh, oh yeah, this is what game design was like back then. Because games like this now would be bloated with shit, especially by CMON. Like they will never design a game like this again. And it was just, I mean, you didn't lose anything from the game. It wasn't like, oh man, where's the unique deck of like, like because the tribes, which there are different uh
Plans.
like animals,
Yeah.
uh, but you all start out the same. But you draft your cards, and from that very first draft, you are immediately unique. Which,
Mhm.
I mean, different strokes for different folks. I like them both. Rising Sun is you already have a unique player power. Blood Rage you don't, but from your first draft, you're already unique. So, so I don't know. Like, I do. It's funny because I talked about Rising Sun, um, couple videos ago, I think.
Yeah, it
Where
was.
is There it is. Rising Sun was my 38.
Yeah.
So almost Blood Rage is almost double ahead of that. But the year before that, they swapped, or a couple years ago, because I had played Rising Sun. So I think ultimately I do like Rising Sun better, but because I had played Blood Rage again and it was just such a clean game, um, yeah, there's the card drafting and just different strategies of the gods is so cool. So yeah, that is my number 17, Blood Rage.
Yeah, I had the Kickstarter for this and sold it several years ago after it came out for a good chunk, and then wanted to get it all back, but it's expensive, so I finally just got the base game box back a couple months ago, so I'll get it played again as well.
Nice.
I won't have all the cool monsters, but that's all right.
I have everything.
I know. All right. My number 17 was 19 last year, so it climbed just a tad bit. Um, this is yet another game by one of my favorite publishers. I have everything for this game. They announced a new GameFound project coming up that's going to be the final expansion for this game. And I hope there's been whispers. I hope there's a big storage solution because they've been kind of whispering about it and thinking about it. And that is Cloudspire. The Harbinger expansion is the new one that's coming.
Hmm.
But there's been little chatters here and there about that kind of like the Too Many Bones trove chest. So
Oh, okay.
so we'll see how it goes. But anyway, this game, if you know chip theory games, you know the quality chips and chips and neoprene, plastic cards. It's all that jazz. But what this one does is it is a like a tower defense MOBA style game. But it has all these really cool, um, fantastical factions that you choose from, and so you lay out your board and you're trying to get to the and you can barely see the one, but there's a castle down here at the bottom and there's a castle up here, and you're trying to work your way through and take out the other person's stronghold. Um, this one I have only ever played this solo, and that's
Hmm.
what's cool with this is they have an entire book for a couple of their deals that's just all the solo scenarios, and it lets you work through all the factions. Um, it teaches you how to do stuff. They're difficult. I mean, they throw those towers out there, and I have all the tower miniatures and all that crap too, which they look neat, but they're kind of a hindrance to
Yeah,
it
they're
a
they're
little
kind
bit.
of fiddly. Yeah.
But they look cool on the table regardless.
Hmm.
But this is just a really neat thing because your faction has all these specialized units, and I like how they come up with the trays that have them all laid out, and you're gonna be doing different stuff and trying to work your way through the terrain and get all the way to the other stronghold and take them out. And
Yep.
it's just one of those good feeling chip theory games. You have your big stacks of chips. Like you have these different chips here that will be under some of the stuff for range, attack, and armor and all that good stuff. Then you'll have your hit point chips and stuff. And I haven't touched all the stuff in this. I've played. Um, I think I've only played like four of the factions so far. Because I try to play them and learn them.
Hmm.
You know, before I just move on to the next one because it takes a little bit of time
Yeah.
learn how the factions run. Um, but yeah, I'll be in on the Harbinger stuff and hoping for a big box when it comes
Yeah,
out.
same. Maybe I'll keep it this time.
Yeah.
Because no, this game is really, really good. It's just yeah, every time I like have it, it's like I'll play it and I'm like, yeah, this game is great, and then it like sits forever.
Hmm.
Because it is a beast to get to the table.
It is.
Just like all their other games, honestly, like Burn Cycle and Too Many Bones are just a beast to set up. But man, they are really good. I have played this multiplayer, and the solo is fantastic. And the 1v1 is equally fantastic.
Yeah.
I've only ever played at 2 though, or up to 2. I've never played like 3 or 4 because it just seems like a bad time.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this is just another one of those, another chip theory game. Like I say, I'm a chip theory fanboy.
Yep.
So we'll
Yeah, they
probably see more
actually
of them later.
well because they're adding Cloudspire to 20 strong in that
Yep.
same
Yep. That
same
same
GameFound
project.
thing. Yep. So that's gonna be really cool too. Maybe I don't even have to get it. Maybe I just get 20 strong stuff. I'm
Maybe.
like, hey,
Yeah.
it's just like it. Cool. Yep, great pick. All right. My number 16, this is one of the ones that fell. It was number 10 last year, so fell out of the top 10. And it was 27 the year before. This one I'd be very surprised if it ever fell out of my top 20 unless I just continue not to play it. But this is a rare one that even when I don't play it, I've played a lot of it, so I can retain of how good of a game it is. I've just kind of morphed into this in this position where I don't want to teach it at all. So I need people who already know how to play it, and that is Root. The game of woodland, might, and right. Um, yeah, so I mean, God, Root is easily kind of like one of the most popular games I feel like that have come out recently. Like, because a lot of people really like Vast when because it was asymmetric, and that felt like it was the first time that like that happened. It seems where a lot of people were like, "Ooh, everyone's playing a different game. You don't just have a unique power; you're playing a completely different game that revolves around everyone else." And Vast definitely has that. I'm not a huge fan of Vast, and I haven't played the Mysterious Manor or whatever it's called. Um, but Root is in that same vein. It is a 100% asymmetrical war game where every faction plays different. And at this point, there are so many factions. Because there's the 4 that come in the base game with the cats, the Woodland Alliance, the birds, the Eerie, and then the Vagabond. And they all, again, like the cats have this kind of like traditional area control. They're basically a massive presence on the board, utilizing resources to build buildings. The Eerie does like a programmable state where they play a lot of their cards where they have to go in order. The Vagabond is a 1 unit thing that gathers items and completes quests. And the Woodland Alliance fucks around. No, they basically hide the entire game until you piss them off enough to get followers to start uprisings. Those are the 4 base ones, and then they have like 8 more, I think. 8 more factions. I'd have to look it up. And as far as I'm aware, according to Patrick Leader, he said that like they're still going to make content for it. Uh, but yeah, this game is just amazing. I have done a ranking of all the factions. I can't remember if we have the 2 newest ones on that ranking, but yeah, if you're looking for an awesome war game that you can just pick a faction and be like, this is the one I will always play, you will be, I mean, you will be wanted in game groups just because this game is a beast to teach, especially if like I've played and I've seen played a lot of the factions. So I mean, I could teach this game relatively well, but if you have only played like one faction and you're trying to teach it to other people, you're gonna have a hard time because you'd be like, well, I don't know. Like if anyone has questions, I don't know. I haven't played your faction. Um, so it's definitely a beast, but man, if you can get a group, if you can get a dedicated group of Root players, it is amazing. So
Yeah.
that's my number 16, Root.
All right, my number 16 was number 9 last year. And this is actually the first time it's been out of my top 10 over the last handful of years. This was right up towards the top a few years ago. This one is one of my favorites. It gets played a lot. It only fell just because of the stuff that moved up into the top 10, really.
Okay.
But this one will always be consistently up around here, and that's Five Tribe.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, this has been in my top 10 for a long time. So just missed out this time. But this one, if you don't know what this is, I mean, because it's been out for it came out in 2014, so it's 10 years old at this point. But
Why does it feel older? You know, there's been games that were like the Pandemic Legacy. It's like, oh, that came out in 2016. Oh my God. And then this one, it's like, oh, it came out in 2014. That's it.
Yeah.
Why does it feel like it came out in 2004 or something? Why is this not 20 years old?
Because Days of Wonder only puts out a few games.
That's true. Yeah.
But this one has always been one that's been awesome for me because it uses that kind of weird Mancala-esque aspect where you have all these different meeples out on the board. You're gonna pick up all the meeples off of one place, and you have to drop one off at each place. The last one you have, and the matching color of all those on that last square you're at, you get to take, and then do whatever it is. If it's the red ones, you can shoot or kill a meeple from that meat spaces away. If it's the green, you can purchase cards from the market. If it's blue, you get coins for every blue number around that.
Oh, on the tile, right?
Yeah. The yellows are just gold, and whoever has the most yellows at the end gets an extra boost of gold. The whites are what help you get gens to buy the genie special power genie cards that
Yeah, the OP cards
abilities.
that the person teaching you the game doesn't emphasize how good they are and wins. That's the special power of the white maples.
But what's cool about this one also is at the beginning of every round there's an auction phase for player order. But the trick with that is your money that you're wagering, your money is your victory points. So you have 50 money, you have 50 victory points. That's how it goes. So you're actually wagering victory points and for order, which may be worth it if there's a one really kick-ass move you see out there to do stuff. This is the base game setup the way it is right here. Some of the expansions add mountains and chasms and different stuff that kind of limit your movement.
The Sultan's one added cities and I think a set collection element, but it's been so long. Going back a little bit to that victory point turn order thing, I am now convinced that that's the reason why I've never won this game, because me as a player, regardless of any late turn benefit, I will always want to go first. So I'm always wagering probably more than I should, because it's like, oh man, okay, they probably don't really want to go that bad, but I really want to go, so 10 points and everyone else puts in 1. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, all right. I overshot. So yeah, that's why I'm gonna say I've never won.
Yeah, and my favorite expansion to all these, because there's like 3 or 4 expansions, is the Artisans, because it brings in the purple meeples.
Yeah.
And I love the purple meeple, and that whether you get the the artifacts or just different stuff with them. There's a lot of cool stuff with this game. The replayability is high. If there's one downfall to this game, is if you're playing with somebody that has AP or is slow at making decisions, will drag this game a long time because you can't plan ahead. Because
not really.
You're dropping one. If somebody drops one meeple on a square that you're going through, that changes your entire plan of dropping off and where you're going to stop. So
yeah, just go with the flow. But if you are a player that is hyper analytical, yeah, you're gonna have a bad time. I will say, I mean, it's been forever since I have played this game. I usually will pick to help anyone, I usually kind of pick the one thing I want to do. And that usually doesn't change. unless someone else also was doing that. If they do the move that I was gonna start with, then it's like, okay, well now I got a course correct. You can kind of look ahead, but yeah, if you're like, because you have to leave a trail, and if anyone just kind of like takes that spot or puts extra stuff in there, then it can throw it off. You're not gonna be thinking 4 or 5 moves ahead. It's just not happening.
No, no, not at all.
You can think
So
1 move ahead maybe.
yeah, so this is my favorite Days of Wonder game.
You already
Yeah,
had Heat. Yes, you did.
yeah, this is my favorite Days of Wonder game.
Yeah, I don't have many. I think Heat was my favorite. Yeah, because Five Tribes is not on the list. It was number 143. So
Yeah.
still not, I mean, for not having played it since probably last time you and I played it,
hmm
like that's relatively high.
Yeah, and it's just
How is
always
this
gonna
game
be a
at
great game.
2?
I played it
That's
too. It's not bad. It's just
okay.
it actually plays really fast.
Funny enough, BGG has it at 57.6%. 462 people say it's best at 2.
Well, and I could see that. I mean, because the
I
game
can
goes
too.
faster because you don't your plans don't get messed up as much.
True.
It's
Yeah.
it's you're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So because
Yep.
ultimately the only player interaction in this game is the auctioning and then the
Mm-hmm.
but what happens is when you play with 2 players, that your pawns up here for player order, there's 2 blues and 2 pinks, and you get 2 turns.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, you're flying through a lot quicker. So you may go back to back
Gotcha.
turns. So I mean, you can really the game goes a lot faster.
Okay.
So
Cool.
that's one bonus of it.
Yeah. All right. Good pick. Yeah, I need to play this again. All right. My number 15, Rose. Surprisingly, actually. Well, it was 24 last year, so it rose a decent amount, but then it was number 5 the year before. Um, and it rose again because I had played it because I finally got the newest expansion for it, and I was just like, God, this game is just so, so good. It's a game that you dislike for some reason. I think whenever you sold it, you took a fat shit in the box, um, and and then shipped it to that guy, and with along with your oh damn it, your Massive Darkness stuff. Um, anyway, my number 15 is
Yeah,
Spirit Island. Uh, so Spirit Island, I have everything for this game. I was able because I have the wooden box, which I thought was like in collaboration with the company, but people on my in the comment section informed me that's not the case. That was just one that was made. I thought the company had designed it because I was able to fit the newest expansion in there, but I'm like, man, if they make another one, I'm gonna be pissed because they made this wooden box, and I guess that wasn't greater than games. And I was also informed that they're not done. Like they said they have more content for it, but this is I think this is the number 1 cooperative game? Hold on.
not sure.
Spirit
I bet
Island, because
Gloomhaven. I bet is probably.
okay, so it's okay, I thought there was a cooperative section. It's number 10 in the BGG top 100, or number 11. I guess I got pushed out. That sucks. Anyway, they yeah, I absolutely love this game. This is one of the best, if not my favorite uh pure cooperative, because of just how, which I know is not the case because I have a bunch of cooperative games higher than this, but whenever I'm looking for a game that isn't like a campaign narrative thing, this game just really hits so many different spirits that again are asymmetric in how they play. And just like not even just like the cards that they start with, but the special powers, the way that they level up, and just like on their start of turn stuff is different. Um, the theme of the game is that invaders are coming to settle on your island, and you're like, fuck that, and you're trying to get rid of them. Uh, and there's just so much modularity to it with invaders that you can give nationalities to, so they play completely different. The fact that you can see kind of what they're gonna do, because they will basically settle, which will blight and destroy the land. Then they'll like expand, and then they'll travel. So you can see where they're doing all that ahead of time, except you don't know where they're gonna explore. That's top decked. But so you have like imperfect information, which is awesome. But the other really, really cool thing about this game are the powers themselves, in that they are fast and slow, meaning that the fast powers, which are usually not as strong, are they go off before the invaders' turn. So it's the players are going, it's like, okay, we're gonna set these powers as what we're doing. And it's like, okay, fast powers activate, then the invaders go, and then slow powers will activate. And that creates such a awesome system of being able, I mean, because there's just so many combinations you can do. And there's a lot of table talk of what the players, how they're going to interact with one another, how they're going to handle what the invaders are going to do. It is amazing. Like, I mean, just one of the spirits that I had was there's the natives of the island. They're called Dahan or Dahan. I don't really know how they're pronounced. Um, my character was like this big dog that was really, really big on, I mean, literally, he was a big dog. Um, like his whole shtick was making the Dahan powerful, making them stronger so they attacked more and protecting them. So, which is completely different because my friend was playing as like the sun spirit that was able to actually destroy himself to do like sunbeam. So he was doing all the damage while I was just making sure the natives were protected, healing them and moving them around. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to kill you as a spirit, but I'm going to make sure the natives are. This game is so thematic. It's amazing, but it's very heavy. It is a complex game.
I know this is a great game. I'm in the minority of it. It just is one that just doesn't catch me that much. But I understand why it's one of the best.
Which is
co-op.
weird because I remember you really liked it when we first played it.
I
So,
think it's because nobody would like if I have no reason to own it, and then like I I don't the the theme and everything with it. I don't think I would enjoy playing it solo. Like I
gotcha.
have so many other solo games, like
Sure.
if my wife liked cooperative games, then sure, I would probably do it because she would probably like stuff like this. If this was a
Gotcha.
competitive game, then I'd have it because she would love this theme.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah,
That's fair.
you own
That's
it,
fair.
and everybody over there in my other game group owns it, so it's like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And I will say, I haven't personally played it, but they did I think Horizons of Spirit Island, I think is what it
yes,
was called.
like a beginner
That,
version.
yeah. So, um, you can, I think you can just pick that up at like Target
It's
or
Target,
something,
yeah, Target sells it,
for like 20-30 bucks. And I've thought about picking it up just to get the extra spirits because it's compatible with everything. But
right?
if you don't want to deal with like the bloat, for lack of a better term, then go check that out because it's going to teach you the game probably in a easier manner. And then if you like it, then you can go get all the other stuff and be hooked on it. But I thought that was a really smart move on their part.
Yeah, it
So yeah,
was for
but
sure.
that's my number 15, Spirit Island.
All right, my number 15 was number 5 last year. Um, and it fell for a couple of reasons. One reason is I played so much of it in such a small amount of time that I haven't played it for a while because I've kind of got burnt on it and I just like set it aside for a long time. And
Oh
then there's a new
man. Yeah, that's a good. Hold on, you just said I got burnt out on it, and it's like it made me think of a top 10, like top 10 burned out
yeah,
games. Like,
this could
uh,
this could be one of them for sure.
that's true. Okay. Anyway, keep
But
going.
and then there's the next version that I have that I'm anxious to get into that one because it's going to have the playbooks should be arriving momentarily, really,
Yes.
really soon. I got the email
Oh,
saying that they
oh,
should be
dude,
showing up very soon.
I'm
So
gonna shoot so hard when I get those.
I haven't even cracked the box for Frosthaven yet because I was like, I'm not even touching this until those books
Okay.
show up.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so what's your number 15? Oh,
Booming.
glue. Hold on, real quick. It was really funny. So I've been getting a lot of games in. Like I just got ISS Vanguard and Seventh Citadel, and
Mhm.
those came with sleeves. So I was sleeving a bunch of cards. I was like, okay, while I'm working, I'm not doing shit, so I'll sleeve cards. I'm like, oh yeah, I have Frosthaven sleeves, so I should just sleeve that. I opened it up and it was already sleeved. That's how, like,
Oh,
like I was like, oh.
yeah,
I guess I already did this. That shows how much I haven't even opened my own copy.
yeah,
Like I must have sleeved it when I built the insert, and I'm like,
yeah.
have it sitting
Yeah.
there.
I like I said, I was not, because that's one of the reasons Gloomhaven slipped. That was the second reason, is just the setting up constantly of all the stuff. Like it's awesome, but once you've played 60, 70 games of it or whatever, it's like, and then after playing Jaws of the Lion, how easy that was.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm just ready for the books, man. As soon as Frosthaven books
Mhm.
come, I still need to finish this story of this. I that's why I don't have it all the way put up. I'm gonna
It's I
force
think
myself
it's
to finish it.
I think the video game is on Game Pass.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah, just play that. That's how well, no, I finished the actual board game, but I've played a second campaign of this on Steam.
Really.
So it's on Game Pass and you're gonna get done a lot quicker. So if
Yeah.
I were you, my suggestion is that you don't play the board game, just play the video game, finish that out, and go to Frosthaven.
Is it the exact same
It's the
scenarios and
exact same,
story and
yeah,
everything?
100%.
Okay, cool.
100%. It's the like I honestly like I could see playing Frosthaven again. Yeah, well, in a perfect world, I could see playing
Right.
Frosthaven again. Um, because it's such an improvement on Gloomhaven and the characters are backwards like compatible, you can just
Mhm.
throw them in the Frosthaven system. I'd have a hard time going back. Like, I think the video game version feels it's a lot more difficult, mainly because you can't cheat.
Right. Oh yeah.
Like I mean, you have to go with whatever the modifier shows.
Right.
Um, but they have difficulty levels and stuff, so you can play it. But yeah, you level up just like this. You pick your
Interesting.
all the same, and it
Yeah,
looks
if it's
better
on.
because
Oh, go ahead.
I said, and it looks better because it's a video game. It actually looks really awesome. And a lot of people, and they have the Jaws of the Lion stuff on it too.
Yeah, if it's on Game Pass, I'll look into it for sure.
I'm looking it up right now.
But yeah, so anyway, that's why this has slipped down. I still love the system, which that's all thanks to Jaws of the Lion, because I actually hated this system at the beginning, and
Hmm.
Jaws of the Lion taught me how to play this game. So I love it. I'm ready for Frosthaven. Frosthaven's not on my list, obviously, because I haven't played it yet. So this one will probably keep slipping back, especially because once I start Frosthaven, it'll kind of probably just take this one's spot. But
Yeah, I actually showed uh Jaws of the Lion to a few friends, and they ended up getting a copy at Gen Con.
yeah, yep.
Man,
So
yeah, I just straight up fucking lied to you. I could have sworn they had it. Man, I thought I saw it for sale or on Game Pass. Um, but apparently I lied.
that's all
Well, that's
right.
okay.
Anyway, that's my number 15, Gloomhaven. We'll see what happens next year after I start Frosthaven.
Okay. No, it is right there. Um, okay, so they have it's not on Game Pass, but apparently they do have it on Xbox. It's just if you have Game Pass, it's $30.
Oh, okay, that's not
And
bad.
if you want the gold edition, which I don't know what that comes with, it's 40. Oh, the gold edition comes with the solo scenarios and Jaws of the Lion. So that's $40. So you actually kind of save a little bit of money if you get that.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah, I hated the the PC version because it felt like it was really stacked against you. Like it would be like negative modifier, negative, 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 miss. Shuffle, negative, 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 miss. But then I just played it on easy and I'm like, oh man, I get extra blessings and I'm not getting my negatives as much, and that was a lot of fun.
yeah. All
So
right,
yeah,
so that's my 15.
cool, 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 cool. My number 14 is new to the list. This is the second highest new game. I'm extremely curious where this is gonna land next year. This kind of falls in the same vein as Root in that I'm not gonna get this. I know I'm not getting this game played all the time, because I will only play this at 4, and but the sheer design of it is immaculate. This is like one of the most special games that I have played, and that is Hegemony. Lead your class to victory. Uh, I don't even know who I can't even remember the design, like the publishing company. because I know they're doing another one this year. It is Hegemonic Project Games, and these designers, I'm not even gonna attempt VT and VB. That's what I call them. Anyway, Hegemony is basically a socio-political economic simulation game, really. That kind of like Root, funny enough, as four pure asymmetric classes with the capitalist, the state, the working class, and the middle class. I guess purely asymmetric. I mean, that's still true. The middle class kind of plays a little bit of capitalist and a little bit of working class. Um, this is a beast. Here's the fascinating thing about this design. It's a lot. Like they did everything in their power to make it as easy as possible, but everyone gets quick player aids. It's like it's a quick reference, but then they also get a bigger player aid that is ripped straight from the rulebook. So every time I have taught this game, and I have taught this game to, I've played a 4-player game where I was the only one who had played it, and it was so 3 new people. Once you get through the first round, it clicks. Like something about this design just now you're not going to know the nuances and stuff, but you're going to at least know what you're doing with your faction. Because every time someone would ask me a question like, okay, so how, what do I do with this action? I'm like, look at your player rate. Oh, there it is right there. Okay, cool. But yeah, every class is playing a different game of managing money, of managing, laws, of like the capitalist wants as many businesses as resources they can sell, but then the working class needs places to work, and then if they're not getting paid, they can go on strike, and you can vote for laws to be done. So it's like, hey, no, we all want minimum wage to be higher. Well, the capitalist doesn't fucking want that. It's like, I want to pay you more. So they can pump the voting bag with a lot of their tokens. So it's like, hey, when it comes to vote on that, like you can have a higher chance of succeeding. It's like, well, I'm voting no. But what makes this game amazing and special to me is this is a political game or this is a game about politics that's not political. Like I have played this game with people of just overall different viewpoints without it leading to any argument because everyone can rationalize it. When something is happening in the game, it's like, no, that's how the real world works. In your own country, I imagine if people are playing this in Europe, everything that's happening in this game, they can apply to their own country or wherever. It's just I live in the States, so I'm like, yep, it's like, well, why is there not free healthcare? Well, it's because of this. And they have a whole book on why they did certain things, how it is in the real world, what they had to change to design it. It is truly remarkable. Their new game, World Order, I'm very intrigued by, but I feel like it might not be as special just because that one is about world powers. It's like every faction is the United States, China, Russia. It's like
Right.
that feels like it could be a little bit too grounded, whereas this one is the fact that it's like, nope, this is just how it is based off of your own, current circumstances. Um, it is it is something else. I know. I mean, it's definitely not for everyone. Like this is stuff I studied while I was in college, so it's like, hey, I'm finally using my degree to play a game. But I would recommend that if you ever get a chance, just you might not like it, you might not go out and buy it, but you can at least appreciate the design because there's not many of these.
Yeah.
So that's my number 14, Hegemony.
All right. Well, my number 14 is a crossover with this
Ooh,
list.
with this list, huh?
Mhm.
I mean, it'd have to be Final Girl, right?
It is.
Wow, 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 wow. I expected this to be way higher.
It was 7 last year. It went to
Okay.
14. I haven't played this as much as you have. Because like I haven't really messed with season 2 a whole lot yet. Um, I'm running into the same issue that you're running into. Like, there's too many good long games coming out. So, and when we get to my top 10, you're going to see a lot of reasons why some of these fell. But still, awesome game. I really don't know what more to add to it than with what you said. I mean, I don't know why I still own Hostage Negotiator. I probably need to look into selling it and stuff. But this is just the creativity that they put into this.
Mhm.
The solo only experience. They've taken everything that they learned from Hostage Negotiator. They learned what needed to add the theme to it more and did that. Um, and then just the replayability. I mean, there's just so much cool shit and combinations and stuff you can do with this game. And every season they come out with, it just amplifies it even more.
Yeah, they actually have like a multiplier thing on their I think on their Kickstarter that shows
How many
uh,
combos?
the total number of combos that you get. Let's see, Final Girl Series 2. Yeah, the one really interesting thing about this is in Hostage Negotiator, they came out with a bunch of different cards, like the cards that you can buy from.
Right.
You can change those up. They never did that in Final Girl. They have scenarios that add cards, like, hey, here's a special action you can
Right.
get, but they never changed the core stuff. And at first, I always thought that was kind of weird, and that would get stale. It really doesn't. Okay, so basically the killer. Oh wait, hold on, sorry. I did series 2. Final Girl Series 3. That's not Kick. Oh, it is was Kickstarter.
Game Found. Oh, it was. I thought it was Game Found.
Yeah, I think the Pledge Manager was Game Found.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. What's interesting is there's actually a game on Kickstarter because Game Found has their stretch pay, which is
Mhm.
amazing. That they have. Apparently for the Dying Light Kickstarter, they are opting to use Klarna as a payment system because Kickstarter doesn't offer anything like that. But they're like, hey, during the Pledge Manager, you can sign up for this. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the killer and location combo. So if you have Series 1, then you get 25. Um, you get 25 different combinations. Series 2, you get 100, and then Series 3, you get 225.
Yeah. It's
If you have all 3 series, you have 225 different combinations that you could make.
and everything about this is I mean, the big box. If you got the feature film box that looks like the VCR or the DVD player, and
Hmm.
everything, they just went deep into the theme with this,
Yeah.
and this will be one that I'll always keep just because it's solo only, and you can just it's simple to set up. You
Yeah.
know.
You might not play it all the time, but man, if it's like October,
Yeah.
I mean, perfect Halloween game. And I've
Yep.
actually played this like 2-player. Like I've played this with someone else,
Oh,
and I
just you
just kind of
guys
like
sharing
I kind
decisions.
of Yeah, well, I kind of ran it. Like I was like a DM. I helped make it
Yeah.
like more thematic, and I was like, okay, well, here's like what can happen, and then kind of like amplify the action. So I kind of DM'd a little bit.
Hmm.
So you can always just do stuff like that, also, because it's not a decision heavy game.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
that was still a lot of fun to do. Just play music of whatever, do the Nightmare on Elm Street one, and then play that soundtrack,
Yeah.
and don't and do that instead of watching the horrible horrible movies.
So anyway, that's my number 14. I really don't have much more to add. We kind of covered
Cool.
it and everything. So yep, there we go.
All right. My number 13, funny enough, is keeping on the horror theme. Uh, and I'm actually finally happy to say that I should be getting my content for this game. Last year it was number 6, so it fell out of my top 10. The year before that was number 20. It mainly fell because I haven't played it. It is kind of a beast to set up. And every time I do go to play, we just end up playing something else because it's like, oh, I don't want to set this up. I also haven't played in a long time, so I don't remember the rules. Um, but my number 13 is Deep Madness. So Deep Madness is a game by Dimension Games, and I think their extra Kickstarter stuff for this game specifically is coming, as well as Dawn of Madness,
Yeah, I was
which is
wondering if that's
finally fucking coming out. Those are going to be separate enough games. Like I wouldn't combine them if I liked Dawn of Madness. Uh, but it is in the same universe, I think. But Deep Madness, I mean, it says it's a sci-fi horror game. It very much is that. I always explain this as like Dead Space, uh, Dead Space meets like Alien meets Lovecraft. So the setting is that you are in an underwater facility that instead of up in space. Shit went down. You go down into this facility that's underwater, and you have to manage flooding rooms as well as oxygen if you're in those flooding rooms while being attacked by a bunch of horrific creatures. I mean, they literally have a character that is Isaac from Dead Space. Like, that's not his name. Um, it's Isaac with only one A, but that's not true, but it is very much him. Tons of different characters. This game is really dripping in theme. Feels very video gamey with just like coming across random data logs. It is scenario based, that kind of like Massive Darkness, that if you play them in order, there is a overarching story that you can find out, but you don't have to. You just pick a scenario. Um, they did a really cool link system where each character is kind of linked to a monster, and the turn order like goes back and forth where between it's like, okay, it's me, and then the monster that's linked to me is gonna go, then Brad, and the monster that's linked to him, and then whoever's next, it kind of goes back and forth. So if you strategize and you like, let's say the monster is going after me, there's only one of them. If you kill that, then it goes from me then to Brad. Like it just skips that monster. Um, they have like boss elite monsters that are just horrific, and it truly is unique. In that, I mean, I know a lot of stuff I referenced is like, well, that's not unique, but I mean, I can really get involved in the theme, especially whenever it has anything to do with submerged deep water. That's fucking horrifying for
Hmm.
me. Like just swimming in like these corridors, while you're like, because you can get they also do a really cool sanity system where you spend sanity to like do things, but then if you take sanity damage, the sanity you spent flips to like madness, and once you get a certain number, you draw a madness card. It's like having hallucinations while you're swimming in this flickering dark water, uh managing your oxygen while you're trying to do shit. I would blow my fucking brains out. If it's like, okay, to get to the other side, we have to swim in here. It's like, or
Yeah. You
yeah,
can use my body to float across the water.
yeah. It's something else. Like I said, it's been in my, I mean, it's been up here since it came out. Like, God, when did this game came out in 2018, and it has been in my top. Okay, so 2021 was the only time it was not in my top 10. Ever since then. Oh, I guess in this time it's number 13. I feel like it would shoot up if I played it again. And they actually did a pretty good job. They have two boxes. One stores all the minis, which is, it's like, yeah, it's not all in one box, but at least it's a storage system of some kind.
Hmm.
So there's that, and then the other box is all the content. And it's like, man, more companies should do that. Like if CMON just started offering like, because like the storage box that they did for this was just a massive box with foam, that you can go out and buy, but they provided it, and I guess provided like you still have to pay for it. But man, yeah, that would, I think a lot of people would buy that if CMON was like, hey, by the way, here's all the stuff we made, and also here's an add-on that's a foam storage box for all the minis.
Yeah.
Like I'd buy it. Um, but yeah, that's my number 13. Fantastic co-op game, and also an amazing horror game.
All right. My number 13 was 11 last year, so it's virtually in the same spot.
But
Uh,
it's not.
right, I know. It just slipped just a little bit. And I think this game might hit the table a little bit more because not too awfully long ago, um, well, I guess it's been a little longer than that. I found it not too long ago. They've actually posted solo rules for this game. It's print and play solo rules. But this is a game I showed you, and I believe you own it now as well. I think you talked about it actually not too many or a few segments ago, and that is Whistle
This,
Mountain.
God, I have not played this. Whistle Mountain is like in a few segments. It was in my 87.
Okay. The solo rules are called Whistle Mountain Outlaws. So there's like
Okay.
I guess there's outlaws moving in or something like that. I haven't really messed with it a whole lot, but this game, like when we talked with when you did it, it's It's apparently in that whistle system, but it's a completely different game. This one is so much cooler. It not without its faults, but it's my favorite Bezier game, and you are pretty much just building machines in this big chasm, and trying to get your workers over to the side square. It's a victory point game. You're doing resource management. There's limited resource management because you can only hold a certain amount. And you are trying to it doesn't show it, I guess, a little bit on this picture. There's your Zeppelin over here, but each person has different ships, airships, and you're going to use those as your worker placements. The meeples aren't the worker placement, it's the ships, and you're going to place them somewhere on the grid inside here next to those deals, and you'll get the resources that is adjacent to your ship. And then you have the option to build stuff. And you have to have a worker on there to build it. There's a few different steps you have to do for that. But once you have a machine built, then that adds more spots for you to put your ships on to do different things. Now, as you build machines, the water level increases. There's a stack of water here, and water level will keep going. So if a machine gets covered up at all, then it's not working anymore. And you could, if you don't have your workers moved in time, they could fall into the water, which are negative victory points.
Yeah, it's frowned upon when people drown.
Yeah, generally.
Especially while they're on shift. Like, if they were on break or something, it's like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. There is a expansion that adds like a break element where those workers like they go on their like 20-minute break, and if they drown there, then you can like forego that cost. It's no longer you're no longer liable for that.
But yeah, your player boards are kind of interesting too, I think, because like you'll start out with a certain ability at the beginning, and then you'll pick up these upgrades that will slot into your deal. So they do different things. There's a worker spot that you can pay to get those upgrades. There's notches on the edge of the board because there's all these different action spaces out here. You can put your ships, and depending on what, where you place them, you can do different things for different costs. Two things that were weird production decisions on this game that we've talked about was the board's like a puzzle. It's not a folding board. It's like in puzzle pieces, which is one weird thing. And then where they have you stacking all the deals, it's hard for some people to see. I mean, it's easily fixed. You can set the things off to the side or whatever, but like this, I mean, there's these big stacks of deals. Like if you were sitting over here, you couldn't see that tile unless you got
It's like they tried to be cute with everything, and it's like, okay, or you can be functional. You can make your same board, just not like a moron designed it.
Yeah. So I don't know what reason was behind that, but neither here nor there. This is still a great game that everybody I show it to enjoys it and has a blast with it. And I wish they would come out with more for it, but it looks like it's just going to be a one and done setup because it came out in 2020. So I guess it's not out of the realm of possibility, but it's getting there.
Nope. I mean, well, let me check something real quick. Because just a year later, Unfathomable came out, and that had just had an expansion announced.
Yeah. So
we'll
see how it goes.
You'll probably get another Whistle game.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with one another. It's a dice game.
Yeah, something like that, probably. Rolling right.
That'll be it. All right. Good game. Good game. It would be higher on my list if I have played it recently. I just haven't.
Yeah.
All right. My number 12 was the same last year. It was number 12 last year, and number 13 the year before. And this will probably go higher once I finally get everything for it, which I can. I think last year I was talking about it, and I'm like, fuck those scalpers. We should execute every single one of them with their overpriced copy of this stuff that is no longer going to be selling. My number 12 is this one, Cthulhu Death May Die.
Gotcha.
It's amazing. We will probably talk about this higher again, just because this game is amazing. One, I'm a huge Lovecraft fan. I've actually been reading more Lovecraft stuff too, and it is pretty wacky. It's wacky stuff. Uh, this one is still very much Lovecraft, but they didn't use the same like people. So the setting and stuff is different. Like the characters they have are uh not in any other like Lovecraft game. It's not your typical Monterey Jack and Rita Young and all them. But they do a very cool element of taking a like an old one and taking a scenario and shuffling cards together, whether that be the items and the event cards. Um, and then you have your different monsters for that, your different old one, and then the rules of the scenario. It is very modular in that way, which makes it amazing. The biggest downfall I have on this game is that those tiles, I again, if it's like why did these companies just have interns and that intern
Yeah.
fat fingered something and then the dimensions shrunk and they just printed and then they're like shit, we can't fix it even though they very much could. Um, other than that, yeah, this game is amazing. Every character has like something unique about them, and then like these generic pool of abilities that's shuffled in. You have this cool twist if you want to go insane, but not too insane, because then you're kicked out of the game. So you get stronger as you get more crazy, but the stronger you are, the higher chance you have of gaining more insanity, which you don't want at the same time. It is I mean, it's just a fun game. Every time I've played this and every time I've showed it to someone, it's always gone off without a hitch. Uh, but yeah, I'm finally gonna be able to get like the Unspeakable box and then series 3 or season 3, whatever they called it. This is just gonna
Season
add.
3 and 4, I think they both add.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was both.
Yep.
Which is just gonna add even more content to shuffle together, more old ones, more scenarios. You and I are both getting the massive Cthulhu that we're gonna have next to the massive Galactus, and then they're
Yep.
gonna fist fight, and Galactus 100% wins. There's no way he doesn't. Uh, unless can you really kill an old one? Question of
Apparently,
the day.
because I've done it a
Yep.
few times.
Yeah. Apparently, you just get a shotgun. Like in
Yeah.
every Lovecraft game, it's like get the shotgun, and then it's the God Killer. Yeah, this has been high on my list since I've played it. It is very, very, very fun. So that is my number 12, Cthulhu: Death May Die.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, I'm sure.
Maybe not.
Pretty
Maybe you
sure.
had to make room for other stuff. You had to make room for. So if Final Girl went back and Mage Knight, or and then this went back because of Mage Knight.
Maybe. We'll see. All right, my number 12 also was number 12 last year, so our 12 stayed the exact same.
Oh, that is interesting.
This game used to be my number one. And it was my number one for a couple of years, and then it kind of slid down a little bit, but still, I mean, it's still number 12. I mean, it's still one of my favorites to play. And
Used to be
that,
your number one.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I got it. I
that
got it.
is Orleans. Um, so, and then I realized that apparently there was an expansion that came out that I don't have called the Plague. I didn't know there was such a thing. Maybe it's a small expansion or something. I don't know, but I saw a thing on it. It was something that advertised that says it came out in 2023 on
Yeah.
BGG, but
Huh.
but anyway,
Bonjour, quel horreur.
so
Monde.
this game was one you showed me,
Hmm.
and like as soon as you showed it to me, I was just like, it was just a must get for me.
Yep.
I really hadn't played these kind of games before a whole lot. You know, this was kind of one of my turns because I'd always just played Ameritrash, dice chucking, thematic, all on thematic games. This was kind of one of those that kind of started turning me into more of a Euro gamer in a way.
Yeah, and I don't even know how because I played the same kind of games, like the Talisman, Arkham
Right.
Horror stuff. I don't even know how I got into this one. I think someone on my channel years ago just recommended it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I think he sent me a copy. He sent
Yeah,
me
I think
his
that's right.
copy to play for the channel. Man, that was fucking forever ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that kind of might have been my first dive into Euros. So
Well,
it
this
did
was
the
one
same
of the
thing for
first
both of
games that
us.
this is one of the first games we played together, actually.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, this still hits home. You know, you get I have the upgraded bits for it, so the bag pulling and everything is still really cool. But um, it's just such a cool puzzle with this. And there's a lot of different options you can do because you're building up your bag with different types of villagers. You're going and then you draw a certain number out of them each turn, and then you're going to place them on different spaces on your board. And if you fill up that space, then you get to do that action. You know, so there's that part of it. There's the part where you're moving people up on the map up there and gaining resources. You're building houses. There's also tracks that you're moving up that get you benefits, whether it's money or just different tech stuff or food or different junk. It's a bit of a race game though, as well, because you're trying to get as many houses out there and get as many of those. I can't remember what the hell they call them, the citizen tokens that you gather as you go, because that becomes a multiplier with your that in books, I believe. No, I can't remember. It's been a little bit, but getting those citizen tokens are multipliers for stuff. And also with the base game, it was pretty. You have a stack, which is back here at the back of events that happen at the beginning of each turn. So, but what's interesting is that it's face up, so you know what's coming at the end of that round. So if it's taxed all your goods, you want to make sure you're doing something with those, or make sure you have a good so you don't have to pay, or if you know when a plague is coming or something like that. So you have that round to prepare for that event, which is cool. The trade and intrigue expansion trade part was cool. The intrigue wasn't as much.
Intrigue is for people who are they hate who they're playing with.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can cull chips out of your bag to put on a board, which gives you different stuff. In the base game, you just get I think it's just getting a coin or something like it's very minute.
Get those citizen tokens, a coin.
Yeah.
No, it's so basic.
But the trade one brings a new location that actually gives you actual true decisions, so you can decide what you want to throw down and get different things out of it and stuff. This one has always been a hit. I've showed it to tons of people. They've always liked it. I need to figure out what this plague expansion is to see if it's anything worth nabbing. But yeah, I mean, this one's still one of my favorite Euro style games, and yeah, like I said, it's been here 2 years in a row, and it was former number one. So
yeah.
Yep.
All righty, good choice. All right, and the last one for this segment. This is the honorable mention if we were just doing our top 10. This one fell, but very, very slightly. It was number 9 last year and number 7 the year before. We actually just got a kind of their soft reboot, from my understanding, is it's kind of like a standalone thing, but you can combine stuff with the original, and that is Black Rose Wars, not Rebirth, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what Rebirth does. I know a little bit of the differences that it added, but apparently it's just more. It can just be more content for the original. Black Rose Wars was, it's kind of like my favorite dueling mages game. Like that, there's not a lot. I mean, there are a lot of games about out that do that theme. But Black Rose Wars, I think, does it best with just the magic, picking different schools of magic to fight against other mages who are picking different schools of magic. It has so much content. It's by a company that they do a good job. Like, they're not like dog shit like Mythic Games, but they're not at the top like some others. But they make games with a ton of content, but then it's not without its faults. And Black Rose Wars really, is kind of in that same vein. Um, they can you go to the next picture?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Um, yeah, it's good enough. So yeah, it is a arena style game where you are just programming cards, which are your spells in various slots. So you have uh, slots that you can put down that have to go in order, um, like in like one, two, three. So you're kind of thinking about what your opponents are going to do, what you can make them do the combo, or if you do a spell that like makes them move into a room, or if you activate like a trap card that's like, hey, this goes off and anyone enters a blue room, and then your next spell is causing someone to move, and you can put them in a blue room, then your trap activates. So things like that. Tons of different schools of magic, which is what makes it amazing in my eyes. Just you can pick from any of them. Like you can like just completely deck build a little bit, and or you can go all in on one and be like, I'm gonna be the destruction mage. That's all I'm gonna do. Uh, and then just see how that works out. What's also really cool about this is it's based off victory points, not elimination.
Right.
So now you are dealing damage to players, and whenever they do die, it's whoever dealt the most damage to them that gets like the trophy or gets the victory points. Uh, but there's quests to complete, so you don't even have you can go all in on that. There's a lot in this game, and yeah, I'm very excited to see how Rebirth is and at 2 because I can now say at this point, Black Rose Wars Duel is hot poop.
Okay,
It's gonna be
I saw you selling it, and I
yeah,
was like, okay, I didn't,
it's
you know,
it could have been fine if but like what's great about Black Rose Wars is you have multiple schools of magic. In Black Rose Wars Duel, you have one. So both players are pulling from the same deck, so you don't feel unique, you don't feel different.
interesting.
It just wasn't good. Um hell, I mean it was all compatible with all the previous stuff, so I could have taken what was in that and thrown it in, but I was like I'm like I don't want this stuff.
Yeah.
Like it yeah, so we'll see what Rebirth does. If I've heard it like streamlines a little bit better. It's kind of the inverse because these rooms have special abilities, but they could be destroyed, which means the abilities go away. Um, but then the Rebirth is like the opposite, where they don't have abilities, and then they like you kind of like build the room back up. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, if you're looking for an awesome, super fun dueling mages game, I highly recommend Black Rose Wars.
So are we playing Rebirth or the original?
Yes. No, we're playing Rebirth.
Sweet. Good deal. All right. So I look forward to that for sure. My number 11 was a game you've talked about a couple segments ago. And it's mainly climbed up. It was 21 last year. It's mainly climbed up because I've really been enjoying the solo stuff with this. And they keep putting out expansions. I don't know how many more they have in coming, but yeah, I mean this is still a top-notch one, and that is why is it not turning? There we go. Lost Ruins Varnak.
Nice. Yep.
This one, this one and Dune Imperium came out at the exact same time, pretty much, and this one is so much prettier looking. It's just the better game, in my opinion. I know a lot of people don't agree, but the options that this gives you, especially when the expansions came out, giving you the extra adventures and the extra research tracks and all that stuff has been those are really smart to get those out because that was one of the complaints the base box was that the research track was deterministic pretty well, but
Right.
they adding the new stuff with that's been really cool. But this is one of those hybrid games. It's a worker placement / deck builder. And you also it kind of gives me that feeling that you get a little bit in Everdell where you only have 2 workers and you have to maximize what you do. It's like
Hmm.
you can get a lot done, but you have to play it right or you could kind of
Yeah.
screw yourself out and stuff. But this was one of those that kind of came out of nowhere. initially. There was some hype behind it, but for a retail, straight to retail game, like the components are nice. You know, all the chits and the arrowheads and the tablets and all that stuff are really cool. It's the deck building aspect's really neat because you're using it for different travel purposes as well. You can use them for that to get your adventurers to different locations. If you go to a location with the monster cards, you know, there's, if you don't beat the monster, it's not like detrimental or anything, but when you beat it, you get a reward for it. You can also get people to help you, assistants that give you abilities you can use once around. You go up the research track and you're gaining stuff. There's just a lot of cool aspects to this game, and the expansions have added plenty of stuff. The solo, this is really nice. Also, you've played the solo, haven't you?
Yeah, solo is very good.
Yeah, so this is one that my wife actually likes to play too, so I don't play the solo as much as I do playing it the regular way. But you know, it's a super solid game, and I don't know what their future holds for this one, but I do like that they are paying attention to the solo people. Even back before they started coming out with expansions, they had that online solo little campaign thing that wasn't horrible, you know, yeah, I mean, this one's just an awesome one, you know, and don't really know what else more to say about it other than it's just,
I was
if you
gonna
haven't
say,
played it, try it.
it's interesting that this and Dune get compared a lot, but this one has just gotten expansions to it. But then Dune Imperium, which did get expansions, which I thought improved the game, but then they made like a bunch of reboots
Yeah, it was like a
for
reboot,
it.
that
It's
one.
like
Yeah,
it's like what are they doing? I mean, one, capitalizing on the Dune IP, which is huge right
Yep.
now.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I just like this one a lot, and yet both expansions are super super good. I will say if you do the second one that comes with the campaign, just do it solo. Like the 2-player just makes it more difficult when you don't really play cooperatively. It's just you're playing with another person.
Yeah.
It's way better just solo. But yeah, great game. Great pick. And that is it, everyone, for this segment. Next up is the final video, the top 10 games of all time. Very exciting to go over those. Let us know what you think of these games in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.